Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Today, we are so honored to be hosting the Home Show Playbook. So I have with me Steve Porter of Nationwide Expos. He is, one of the biggest promoters of producers of home shows in our country. And myself, I am the founder of Enabled and the Face-to-Face Marketing Network. So I actually am the coach for many of the companies who do Steve's events. And so I coach them on how to do home shows the right way. So today we're going to spend about probably 30 to 45 minutes, um, you know, going over a ton of really valuable things. Before we get into any of that, I just want to let you know that stay till the end of this webinar today because we have a really cool offer for you all. Again, we're not going to be here for a very long time, not going to take up a lot of your time. We want to make sure that this is all very valuable for you, but just hang tight to the end. We have an incredible offer for you. And how to save money on events. That's all it is. There's no
We do that.
obligation.
If you buy now, you'll get
No,
no.
not that kind of offer. It's
Okay,
not that kind of party. We actually have something to save you some money. That's all.
awesome.
But I also wanted to just let everybody know how Steve and I originally met, which was through our Home Improvement Industries book club. So can you drop the link for the book club in the chat, please? We have the only home improvement industries book club. It's entirely free for you to participate in. I know somebody from my team is going to drop that link in the chat any minute. And then you guys can all register to join that book club as well. It's a really great way to connect with other people in the industry. Again, it's free. We listen to incredible books. We share ideas and how to make our teams better, ourselves better, our businesses, so on and so forth. Okay, so I know somebody from my team just dropped the link in the chat. Feel free to register for that. Save the link for later. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Awesome. So here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover the producer's lens. So we're going to cover how to select shows that have the potential to convert. We're going to cover a little bit more about Nationwide Expos specifically. We're going to cover how to hire and train the right team to work at your home shows. We're going to cover my favorite part and the most controversial part of myself and my coaching is the no trinkets, no giveaways, no candy at home shows and why and what to actually do instead. We're going to cover how to actually qualify and set an appointment on the spot or the benefits of doing so, and also a little bit more about the face-to-face marketing network. Let's go to the next slide, please. So here are your hosts, Steve and myself. You can call us Double S if you want to. So Steve runs a boutique home shows across the country with an emphasis on consumer quality and maximizing the exhibitor value as well. So Steve has sat in on the producer side of thousands of exhibitor relationships, and he also knows exactly what makes booths money, okay, and also what doesn't. Then you have yours truly. My name is Samantha McGuinness, and I spent the last 13 years exclusively on face-to-face marketing within the home improvement space. So I built the Renewal by Andersen of Greater Toronto's events home show department from the ground up. We had massive success there, doing tens of millions of dollars at a 9% cost of marketing. And now I have the blessing of coaching other companies in the home improvement industry on how to utilize my systems for them to run profitable departments that operate as a business within their business. Let's go to the next slide, please. So we're going to start with Steve. Steve, I'm going to pass the baton over to you. I'm going to mute myself.
All right. Well, hello everyone. I'm Steve. I am the training and development coordinator for the company for Nationwide Expos. I started off in sales a long time ago, and I just fell in love with the industry, and I fell in love with what really comes out of these. And so now I teach people how to sell home shows, and so in doing so, I've kind of picked up over my time just kind of what matters the most, and I listen to my vendors, number one. And for those of you who don't know, I'm from Nashville. I'm currently in Salt Lake. I flew to our Salt Lake office yesterday, and I left 95 degrees. I saw somebody, Allison Beatty. She's in Nashville. 85 degrees feels like 101. I flew into 107. It's hot, but so is this webinar. So let's kind of dig into it a little bit. And I apologize that the AI version of me is not here. I don't know who that guy is, but he looks great. I mean, the hair is amazing on my little AI generated Steve on this registration. So, but what Samantha was talking about is just selecting shows that actually convert. And you can go to the next slide. Prioritize audience quality over quantity. And I think that that's one of the most overlooked things about shows. Is one of the biggest mistakes I see is that companies, they're choosing a show based on price instead of potential. Home shows are about meeting the right homeowners, not simply the largest crowd. I'd rather have 2,500 people at a show who are actively planning projects on their homes than 25,000 who are just kicking tires and doing something over the weekend. And so, you kind of develop that habit of how many people come. Well, who comes? I want to go into who comes, and so we want to match the show to the buyer. We really want to. I've got I deal with all types of categories and different types of businesses within the home show industry, and there's certain shows that work better for certain types of vendors, and so you'll kind of. If you work with me at the end of this, when we get that call to action, you'll learn how to do that. But we're going to talk a lot about what you have to have out of a show to make it successful. And so I'm not trying to sell you an amount of people. I'm trying to give you the opportunity to earn ROI. And we really want to focus on that mostly. So and you want to really build those relationships, and that's what I try to do with my vendors. I will listen to you guys, so because I want to know where you're at. You can go to the next slide. I've watched companies spend thousands of dollars on a show and then lose before the doors even open. And discussing the price over quality, lowest booth cost doesn't equal highest ROI. I ask questions like, who's coming? What type of homeowner is it? Is it an established area? Is it an older neighborhood or community? We do a lot of shows that are in the outskirts of major metropolitan areas. Why is that? Because again, we're not looking for tens of thousands of people. We're looking for a few thousand that are there to do something to their home. You want to, let me find my little notes here. You want to prioritize what you're getting into. Early booking matters. Booking to get the right floor space. Is it always the front booth? No. Is it always the back booth? No. It just depends on the show, and that is where people like me, your reps with your home show companies and nationwide expos, that's where we know our shows and we know the history behind them and how they work. And so we want to give you the opportunity to get into the right floor space, piggyback on other vendors who have seen success in those shows and go, okay, you know what, if the XYZ company has been in this show for 5 years in a row and they're always in that same spot, there's a reason why. Right. So look into the mentality of the consumer when they're coming in. Best locations in this show are they're always going to disappear first. So waiting till the last minute, you're going to get fewer choices, which at the end of the day, is going to affect your ROI. You don't want to, I say vet your producer. You want to make sure you're dealing with a company that's doing a good job on shows. We've been doing shows for over 10 years. And we were one of the few show companies that made it through a horrible experience in the early 2020s. We won't say that C word, but we survived that, and we were able to reestablish ourselves, and we established ourselves as more of a boutique show. I had a vendor in a show last year that was a custom home builder that Title sponsored, and we were talking afterwards, and it was lightly attended. It was a kind of a rough weekend, and had a lot of stuff going on in the Nashville area, and he said, he goes, you know what? Traffic makes people feel good, but I got 66 soft leads and 6 hard leads. And he closed all 6 hard leads, and then 3 additional of the soft leads that he got. He ended up doing a net ROI of $13.5 million out of that show as a custom home builder. Do you think he cared that there was only 1,500 people there? No, not at all. He literally texted me those exact words. So, just be aware of what the shows that you're getting into. You can go to the next slide. One of the reasons why people choose our shows, and we're not the largest in the company, we're not the biggest home show producer, but we're the second. And they choose us because of the consumer. We target directly to consumers who are actively producing or actively doing projects on their home. Our goal is to attract consumers who are doing those that are looking for a roof or looking for gutters or looking for HVAC or so on and so forth. Boutique shows like ours give you the opportunity to have easier and more clear conversations, less overwhelming. Having tons and tons of people around you, you can't get into a good conversation and really qualify your consumer that way. And so we'd rather build those long-term relationships with you guys so that we can maximize year after year after year. So that's kind of my gist on that. You can go to the next slide. When you're working with me, I don't and if any of you have ever heard from me, and some of you may have, I don't have our entire list. I'm sure I've cold called somebody here, or somebody on my team has gotten that cold call from, hey, this is such and such. I do not approach anything as a high pressure sales call. I enjoy what we do, and I believe in what we do. And I think that there's your difference. When you're talking to someone about a home show, if they're trying to book you, be careful. But if they're trying to book you to build you, that's when you've got somebody on your team. And I truly feel like in any of my vendors that I've developed relationships with, and I'm always welcome to share that stat and give those referrals, those numbers and names and numbers out, because I want you to see, not just hear it from me, but hear it from other people too. But you'll see that I listen to you. I want to know what you need, so that I know that I'm giving you the right show for that. And if I'm not going to give you the right show, I don't want you to do that show. Maybe next season, maybe a city over, I don't know. But that's part of that conversation and really understanding. Just like you guys qualify your customer at the show, I qualify you guys to know, is this the right one for you guys? And so, we want to talk about historical performance, but we also want to talk about that ROI. And I feel like it's a great opportunity to really convert. When you're looking at, anywhere between $1,000 to $3,000 for a certain, any particular booth size that falls within that, I am immediately looking at it and going, okay, I need 10 times that minimum to come in for you guys. And so how do we do that? We work with people like Samantha, who can train you to do that, who can teach you the right things to do in your booth and really kind of get you there. And once you've selected that right show, that's when you got to go, okay, how do I make this? How do I make it huge? How do I make the most out of this opportunity? You're investing not only your money, which honestly, the money's not ever an objection for home shows. It's most of the time, it's the time and the time investment. And so that's what we want to improve on and get you guys better at. So I think it's a great opportunity for you guys to learn from the best. And so Samantha, if you want to switch that next slide over. This is where she teaches you performance. So yeah, there you go. Here's my spiel.
Thank you, Steve. I forgot to mention at the beginning of this webinar today that if you guys have questions, I would actually prefer that you ask questions throughout. We have the end portion as well where you can ask questions. We actually have, I think, 4 or 5 questions that were sent in upon registration. So if you have a question for Steve, if you have a question for myself throughout this webinar, we're happy to stop and answer that question. You don't have to necessarily save it, but we're also taking questions formally towards the end of this. So again, thank you so much, Steve. And again, my name is Samantha McGuinness. I get to teach people and companies how to do all this stuff the right way. So Farhan, you can go to the next slide, please. So before I get into how to do this stuff the right way, and by the way, I just want everybody to know here on this call today that the reason why I know what I know now is I have made more mistakes doing home shows and events than anybody else in the home improvement industry. And that's what I would consider is my claim to fame, is that I have done this every single way, and I've done it the wrong way, and I've been able to build systems around doing things the right way, and I get to share that with other people now, so they don't have to kind of go through the same things that I did. So let's start. So here's a real result from one of our face-to-face marketing network members. This is from a home show. Okay, before working with us, they were just sort of collecting names and numbers at home shows, which everybody is so faithful of the fact that people are going to call your company later, and they don't. Okay. And half the time, if you're giving out cards or you're giving out brochures, those will end up in the trash, unfortunately. Okay. Not good for the environment, not good for your ROI. So that said, here's a real result from one of our members. 48 appointments set from one weekend home show. This home show only took place on Saturday and a Sunday. 23 sold jobs. Their average sales $15,000. They did over $345,000 in total revenue from this home show. This particular home show, I think their booth cost was around $2,500, factor in employee costs and things like that, probably are all in around $5K to do that event. So their cost of marketing is incredibly low. They're running a very profitable department because they're using our systems. And by the way, this isn't because they're special. They are special, but it's not the reason for their success. The reason for their success is that they're following a tried and true system. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. So that result that I just showed, I just want to make sure I'm letting everybody know that you're able to do this as well. Okay, you're able to pull results just like that too. So, one of the biggest mistakes that I see companies make when they're doing events and shows is not having the right people at their booth. So, all due respect, I love you, owners. You're probably not the right person to work the show. You probably could have a better use of your time doing something else within the business and hiring a dedicated team specifically to work your home shows and your events. When I say events, I mean things like fairs and festivals and street fairs, or we could even get into retail stores. But mainly, we're talking home shows today. Okay. So we want to, when we're hiring for this role, we want to hire very objectively. We don't want to just put warm bodies in front of our potential customers at home shows and risk our reputation, not only our reputation, which is of the utmost importance in my opinion, but also the investment that we've made in doing the show. Then there's opportunity costs. So we want to make sure that we're putting the right people there. And to do that, we need to hire objectively from the first point of contact when we are recruiting. Okay. We need to hire people who are specifically looking to work on the weekends. Those people can last for a long time in this role because we have exactly what they need and vice versa. So there's alignment there when it comes to recruiting. We want to train them. We need to train them specifically to work events and shows. And this is a lot of the reason why I recommend not having your sales team at your home show booth. Typically, your salesperson who is responsible for going into the customer's home and presenting a price, that person knows pricing. They know every single detail about your product, and a lot of the time they like to brag about the product, which is great. You have a great product, a great reputation. But when we're at home shows, the objective is to not talk about us. The objective is to actually connect with the customer and ask them questions, find out if they even need what we have. So we want to ask them, how old are your windows? How old is your roof? How old is your bathroom? What's going on with it? What sort of issues are you having? And figure out if we can even help them. Because quite honestly, if we can't help them, we are doing a disservice to them and even trying to brag about our product. Okay. Bragging about our product, it's not intended to be, but it is actually selfish. All right. We're there for the customer. So we need to ask them questions. All right. We also need to make sure that the team who's working events and shows has access to the calendar and is treating their job like it's their business. Okay. We need to run our departments like a business within your home improvement business. We need to make sure that we're staffing accordingly as well. Not overstaffing because we need to be mindful of our costs, but we want to make sure that we have enough people so that if one person on our team is setting an appointment, we still have people out engaging with prospects who are walking by. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. We have the most controversial thing that I ever talk about, which everybody loves, and I get into a lot of debates over. I'm not here to debate it. I've tried this a million times. I worked with an organization that has 115 locations, and I got to run my department the way I chose to. I would travel around their offices and see what giving out trinkets did or having candy at the booth did, and it does nothing. Okay. I got to be honest with you guys. A lot of these things that we do, the trinkets, the candy bowls, the spinning wheels, the raffle, they can drive a crowd to your booth. But what if there's a crowd at your booth full of folks who are not qualified, folks who we cannot help, and then the qualified people are walking past and we're missing them because we're spending so much time on a prize wheel? Okay. And so if you have a really good product and a really good service, I consider this a disservice to your customer to not get an appointment booked for them to meet with you on the board. I consider if your team is so busy, doing raffles and things like this, rather than qualifying and setting appointments, and you are a really great company, you owe it to the people, to the homeowners in your market to get an appointment scheduled for them, to give them a free quote. Okay. So that said, the prize wheels and the raffles, they're not going to be what will produce a good result from your home shows. Okay. Enter to win, all of that stuff. You can open with that. I prefer not to. I find that you save a lot of time just being very direct with homeowners and qualifying them sooner than later. Right? What does work when you're doing home shows? It's genuine, curious conversation. It's being empathetic. It's caring about somebody's situation. It's also a structured qualification process that follows a particular sequence. Okay, we coach on all these things. Also, again, just reps who are asking questions and are actively listening to the answers of those. Right? We have a little line here that I really appreciate. It's if a giveaway is the reason that somebody has actually stopped at your booth, it's also the reason that they're going to forget you by the parking lot. You guys don't need to be doing what everybody's doing at shows. You don't need to be, sitting at the booth, hoping people come up to you. You can do shows in a really strategic and profitable way. I know because I've done it and I teach companies how to do it and they're doing it now. A lot of them are working with Steve and Nationwide. Okay. Let's go to the next slide, please. All right. So we have a question. Phil, I'm seeing your questions. We're actually gonna talk about those afterwards, just a heads up. But Maggie's asking, what are your thoughts on some promotional items like pens and bags? Those to me, I would call trinkets, and I am anti trinkets. Um, you know, Typically what happens with those things is people throw them away or they get used, but there's nothing for them to actually do to engage with you. It's like kind of just handing something at people. So we have a rule, as I mentioned earlier, we run the face-to-face marketing network. So we have, several companies who are in our program. We coach them, we coach their managers, or we have a community. It's an incredible program for them. I know I'm biased because it's mine, but it's what I wish I had when I was a manager. And there's a rule, no giveaways within our booths. It's not fruitful. There's no ROI in that. Okay. Leanna, thank you. I love that you're talking about this. You agree. I love that you agree. And by the way, trinkets are fun. It's not like I'm anti-fun, but you know what works so much more than just handing away stuff to people is being a fun person at the booth, having high energy, talking to everybody, not waiting for people to come up to you. Okay, because those things, sitting behind the booth, hiding from the customer, you might as well not be there at all. And I'm sure Steve would agree. By the way, a lot of producers themselves would rather you be actively engaging with prospects who are walking by. It makes for a better show. I think Steve just thanked God for me, and I appreciate that, Steve. God bless you too, sir. That said, if everyone's sitting at the booth, do you think people are going to want to come back to that home show? I see it from the producer lens as well. Homeowners aren't going to want to be there. You're boring. You don't need to be boring. Okay. So again, we're going to qualify fast. We're going to book a free in-home consultation on the spot. And you need the right system and the right script, the right people, the right comp structure, the right everything to do this. I just want to say, because I touched on a lot of what's on this screen right now already, but I also want to say that a lot of the time we use our displays as a cop out for having a conversation. So we'll rely on having a big, beautiful display and think, oh, this show is going to be so good for us because we spent $50,000 on our booth and it took 6 months to build out, and think that that's where the work stops. And it's not the case at all. I've said this a million times. I'm really fortunate I get to speak on stages at industry conferences and things like that. I tell people all the time, this is the reality that you don't need anything at your booth to qualify and set an appointment. The reason why you need a nice looking display is because you're at a home show and other companies have good looking displays. So you need that. But the job isn't to walk people over to your booth and start talking about your product. The job is to find out what's going on with the homeowner. Always. So if you take anything, any one thing from this conversation, I want for it to be that. I want it to be that when we're at home shows, it's about the person in front of us, not about me in this moment. Okay, let's go to the next slide, please. Another rule for all of the members at the Face-to-Face Marketing Network, and we have a lot of my members are on this call today as well. It's a 72-hour set rule. So we schedule appointments. Nothing gets set outside of 72 hours. The farther out you push an appointment, the less likely it is to actually result in a demo, which is our term for, giving the customer a price, okay, essentially. And yes, the webinar will be available. My team is actually going to send out the recording to everybody afterwards. Actually, maybe you have to stay on for the whole thing and maybe we'll think about it. I'm just burying myself here. So yeah, we're not collecting a name and a number later. We are qualifying and setting an appointment on the spot. Darcy, I see. You saw what I did there, right? So that said, it's a 72-hour set. Not, maybe we'll come out sometime next week, maybe call us later. That there is nothing that's going to happen with that. I promise you, I've worked with companies who've tried it every single way. This is what we laser focus on at Enabled and the Face-to-Face Marketing Network. And if we're just taking names and numbers, this is pointless. Okay. Let's go to the next slide, please. So the ROI framework that we have, and we actually have a system for this where our members plug in their numbers and then they actually get whether or not they should do a show. So they're going in and they're plugging in the booth fee, staffing hours, materials, travel, everything that is included in the expenses of doing home shows and events and retail stores as well. Okay. And then they're plugging in their company's issue rate, which for our members, it's about 80% at minimum, which is very high. It's higher than industry average. You want at least 80% of the appointments that you qualify and set at shows to issue that same week. Okay. And then you're going to plug in your company's close rate, 25%, 40%, whatever that may be, your average job size as well. And then you're going to get an actual cost of marketing. And cost of marketing on home shows is going to be significantly lower, which is a good thing, than almost any of your other lead sources. So if you're doing online marketing, if you're doing pay-per-click, if you're doing whatever it may be, anything beyond referral, home show, and events are going to be way more profitable lead source for your company than any other lead source if you do it the right way. If you do it the wrong way, you might as well not do it at all. Okay. But typically, our cost of marketing on home shows and events is between 9 to 11%, which is very, very profitable. You're running a lean department, you're running a profitable department. Typically, anything over 13%, and you guys can all analyze your cost of marketing today. If you're over 13%, you have significant room for improvement and refinement in your existing processes when it comes to face-to-face marketing. Okay. If we're talking other lead sources, you're definitely probably way higher than 13%, but face-to-face marketing exclusively, you should be well under that. When I was a manager years and years ago, my cost of marketing was 9%, and I was doing over 10 million in revenue a year. So we were running a very profitable department, and you guys can all do the same thing. It's not because I'm special. It's all in following the system. Okay. We have a question from Matthew Miller. What do you think about roofing companies giving out ballpark estimates through roof estimate program? If you're talking at home shows, that's not something that we do. I think it's impossible to get an accurate number when you're at an event or a home show. So giving a price, it's giving away control, so to say, but that's not the main reason. The main reason is you're not going to be giving them an honest answer to the customer. I would rather you schedule a time for the customer to come out to, or your salesperson, your design consultant to go to the customer's home and give them an accurate to the penny price by actually measuring everything, allowing the customer to choose their color, product, material, all that sort of stuff, and actually meet with you. Because the thing about home improvement is that this industry is personal. This isn't like a click and something's installed in my house. No, the men are going to be in your home. Your children are in your home, your dogs are in your home, whatever, you sleep there. This is a personal experience. So I think it's in the homeowner's best interest as well to meet with you and see if they even like you, because there's a lot more to it than just price. Okay. We have another question. What do you do if someone wants to call them later or they don't want to set the appointment within the 72 hours? We have scripts for all of this inside the face-to-face marketing network. Okay. So I'm gonna actually put the link for that there. I think it would be worth your while to check it out. We have a script to prevent somebody from ending up saying, hey, or here's my number, call me later. We have a KPI that we track inside the face-to-face marketing network, and it's called call to set or call back. Many of you guys are going to be tracking this KPI as well. And a callback is a name and a number that is giving your call center work to do later, which is very unlikely that you're going to be able to get a hold of most of those customers. Then we have a qualified set appointment. And with our members, the ratio between a callback and a qualified set appointment is about 10% callbacks, 90% set appointments from events and home shows. So that should give you a little bit of an idea of what to shoot for when it comes to your program, your face-to-face marketing program. Let's go to the next slide, please. So I'm going to go through the 5 pillars in terms of building out a profitable business within your business out of events and home shows. Number 1 is hire and train a dedicated team specifically to work at your events and your shows. I have a lot of companies that have outsourced this to a third party company who does staffing. I got to tell you guys, I've heard nothing but terrible things. I won't mention any names, but a lot of them are taking a really expensive per name fee for every from the businesses, and they're not getting good results. So I highly recommend that you train your own team, protect your brand, protect your reputation, your customers' experience, and most importantly, your results. Okay? Now, no candy, no gimmicks. Have a real conversation. Hold your team accountable to saying the right things and having genuine conversations. Okay. That is going to result in us being able to qualify fast and in using that structured process to get folks on the board in the amount of time that we've allocated here. Okay. By the way, if you're doing one of Steve's really busy events and you set 100 appointments in 2 days, by using enabled processes, okay, it would be very unlikely that you will hit this 72-hour mark. I'm going to be completely honest with you because it's unlikely that you will have enough salespeople just for a one-off event. So there are exceptions. Okay, it's impossible. I've done events where we're setting 300 appointments. I've done the North America's biggest home show. It's a 10-day show. It's crazy. We set over 300 appointments at that event and did over $1 million in revenue every single time we did the show. It's impossible for me to say to the sales manager, hey, make sure you have enough sales reps to open up capacity for what we're about to do this weekend or this week. Okay. So just keep that in mind that the 72-hour set, it's not always something that you're going to hit, but it's something that we're always going to aim for. Okay. Let's go to the next slide, please. So reading this is easy. Sitting in on this webinar, it's easy. You guys could be wearing pajamas for all I know. I don't know. It's not my business. But what I do know is that if you are running a roofing, bathroom, window, siding company, closet business, things of this nature, and you're not completely maximizing your company's ability to do home shows and events, you should contact me and we're going to help you get there. All right, let's go to the next slide, please. Let's go to we can answer some questions. So just a real quick recap. You please talk to Steve. Steve's an incredible guy. I wouldn't be on this webinar with him and doing it with Nationwide Expos if they weren't incredible. Almost all my clients, wherever Nationwide Expos has conference or home shows, I'm sorry, my clients are in all of those. Okay. So, and they have a great experience. I work with tons of producers. When I was an event manager, I did over 300 events a year. So imagine that's a lot. They're organized, they do a really good job. So you're going to talk to Steve if you're choosing between several shows and you're not sure which ones are worth the booth fee. If you want to engage with interested homeowners and convert them into customers, if you want vendor pricing and a short list built for your specific market as well, and also if you're ready to book shows. So contact them. Contact me if you want to generate millions of dollars in annual revenue. Let's go to the next slide, please. So we have a ton of questions here. Before we get into those questions, Steve has a QR code on the left-hand side to book a time to connect with him. You also have a code at the bottom here to save 10% on any nationwide Expos events. So that's our free thing for you. You don't have to do anything to get it. Like this isn't our vibe if you haven't noticed. So you can just scan this QR code, connect with Steve. You can also go to nationwideexpos.com. Okay. Steve, if you want to put that in the chat, your website in the chat as well, and then use the code enabled10 to save 10% on your show bookings. Okay. And you have a QR code to connect with myself as well. I don't have a lot of capacity on my calendar. I wish I had more. So if you want to connect with me, we can do a department review. We can look at your business, analyze what you guys are doing now, how we can help you as well. You can scan this QR code to book a time with me. And then you can also visit the Face-to-Face Marketing Network, which is face-to-facemarketingnetwork.com, to actually join our program. We have amazing companies in our program. We work with companies all over the nation. We're really fortunate that we get to run such a great group. Okay. So I'm going to get into some of the questions here that we've still got left to answer. And I see we have a hand up as well and some questions in the chat. So I'll start with the ones in the webinar chat here. We have a question for Steve. Steve, when are you going to start offering shows in Florida?
Well, I saw that question and I love that question that you're eager and would love to do a show of ours in Florida. However, kind of going back to my original, what I was talking about earlier, I care very much so about the success of my vendors. And when I look at a new market, and we're adding shows constantly in new markets, we just added 3 new shows out in California, which is exciting to kind of tap into certain markets out there. The reason why we're not in Florida right now is because there are so many other home shows there that are great that don't, that I wouldn't say are any worse or better than ours, but there's already so many that I care about the ROI for you guys more than I care about selling a show just to get the revenue in on the books. We've got plenty of shows and we will be continuing to add them. I would love, believe me, I would love to have some Florida shows. And I think at some point down the road we will. As of right now, though, that is in our future. So, yeah. Good question,
Awesome.
though.
Yeah, I'd like more shows in Florida as well so I can mystery shop my Florida clients at their home show booth. So,
Well, I
Steve, no
need more
pressure,
shows in
but
Florida so I can go work the shows in Florida. So, the humidity level's a little different when there's no beach involved in Nashville. So,
that is quite
but
true.
yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. So we have a question. How do you track or process appointments set in the booth in the company to ensure that you're not overbooked? So it really is going to be dependent on which CRM you use. We have a platform. It's a software as a service platform within the face-to-face marketing network as well that helps companies to track all of their everything way beyond just their scheduling. So again, contact us. We can get you set up with that. So it's really going to depend on your particular CRM. Okay. If your CRM doesn't track that, they should, but they're not all built for your home show department, which is why we actually built something for the home improvement industry. All right. We have another question. Any advice for a roofing company doing their first ever home remodeling expo? I have so much advice. Matthew, can you book a call because there's really going to be contingent on what you guys have in terms of a team and your current process. It's for me to tell you if you have an event coming up and it's coming up really soon, I would rather get you the most valuable information based off where you are rather than answer that generically. Again, I would just make sure that you have the right people who are staffed there that are trained the right way and compensated the right way. Those are, the most important things. So we can help you with all of that. I recommend booking a time. All right. Can you speak about vendor pricing via sponsor pricing? What do you mean by this? Steve, that's going to be for you.
Yeah. So vendor pricing, you're there to book a booth. You're there to capture leads on site. There's in the world that I've been in a long time in advertising, there's advertising and there's branding. There's multiple types of marketing. Sponsorships are going to allow you to spend money on more of a branding to kind of to set yourself in the community in the area as a larger name and a larger presence. With your vendor pricing, you're looking at a 10 by 10 booth, 10 by 20 booth, whatever, whatever the size may be, and that's your space. That's what you're working with. The sponsor pricing kind of gets into a lot more world. It comes with a lot of digital, a lot more visibility through our platform and how we market. Again, we don't do as much traditional marketing as we do digital. We're way more digital than we do anything else. And so if you're already marketing on a digital stat, that's going to just piggyback onto that. And we advertise in the same algorithm as you do. So if you're advertising through Meta or other, Google platforms and things like that, we're doing the exact same thing. So people that are shopping for a new roof or for a new whatever, they're going to see our ad. They're also going to see yours, and seeing you on site face to face, which go to that website that Samantha's putting in there. But when they see you, that just adds validity to who you are. But the sponsor pricing, that kind of gets into a little bit more detail where it's featured by the such and such, presented by type of availability. And we have certainly have those available. You're welcome to reach out to me. We can discuss it.
Awesome.
I hope that was the answer to your question. I think that was your question. I think that was what you were going for, but yeah.
All right. We have some other questions. We have closet company here, actual build outs versus large graphics of projects in the booth. Yeah, that's a great question. We have Closet Factory is a member of our face-to-face marketing network. They may be on this call. I love them. They're an incredible business. They work with us, and it really depends. You don't need a huge build out for home shows. I just want to be clear with everybody, no matter your vertical, it's not about that. It's about the person who's at the booth. So if that's a stretch for you to do a custom build out, the juice isn't always worth the squeeze. Don't feel like you need to do it if you see other companies doing that. I would focus on profitability from the home show and build up your booth slowly over time. Guys, when I was at Renewal by Andersen, our first home show booth was terrible. Because it wasn't about that. It was about the people, the methodology, everything that we used, and you win like that. So I would incrementally make my booth a little bit better if it's money's a factor, which it just makes sense that it is. Okay, we have. My company does not prioritize the 72 hours. Is this a model set up for not succeeding? If we don't prioritize 72 hours, should we even be doing this? So yeah, you should be doing this, but you do have to have a time limit and a standard in place for how far out you can book appointments. You guys, the farther out you book an appointment, the less likely that appointment is to actually result. So things happen, life happens, life gets in the way. Even when we're recruiting, we don't book interviews outside of 72 hours. So the sooner you get into the home, the more likely you are to even actually ever get into the home, if that makes sense. By the way, when you're doing home shows in my company, we actually banned the word competitor. We don't use that word because you guys don't have a competitor. If you are so locked in with your company's unique value proposition, you don't have a competitor. But there are companies who might offer a similar service or a product who are also at the home show. If you don't get to the customer within a certain period of time, you may never meet them because it can be likely that they would have purchased from somebody else who they set an appointment with at the show. Okay. We're getting a ton of questions here. I've only been working as an event manager for 6 months and built our show schedule from 6 shows last year to 29 this year. Great job. That's awesome. I wonder what market you're in, but I'm super proud of you. I know this is not an easy role to be in. It's also a very misunderstood role because you guys, your event manager is not an event coordinator. They are a sales and marketing director who's also managing budgets and P&L and recruiting and a million other things. So great job. I know you probably worked really hard to do that. And I'm excited to see Trotty. I'm not sure if I'm saying your name correctly. I'm excited to see where you take your department, again, continuing over the next 6 months. We want to start looking at doing events every weekend, 300 plus a year. Please reach out to Dave and I at Windows. Okay. Can you, TJ, do you mind just scheduling a time with this QR code here, please? That's the only way we're going to be able to connect. It makes it super organized for you. It'll go right on your calendar. This QR code under Samantha McGuinness. Just scan it. It's really easy. My team set it up for you guys, and then we can connect, and we're going to help you get into hopefully if you're in the nationwide territory as well, you get a 10% off by using our code. So we'll help you with all of that, okay?
And if I could, real quick, there was a question. Any shows coming to LA, Orange County? I'm only seeing Palm Springs online right now. We have just added California, and they'll be starting next year. We have Santa Clara County Fairgrounds, and then we're also going to be up in Auburn, California. Just, I believe it's just north of Sacramento, I believe. So Palm Springs, those are the three right now for 2027. And we are doing early booking on all of those. And so again, like Samantha said, if you want to scan the QR code, and I don't know if you guys mind or not, but I'm welcome to put my email in. If you guys have email
Yeah.
questions, you want to do that, I'll do that real quick.
Put it in the chat so you can connect directly with Steve. And when he's saying to scan the QR code for the question he's talking about right now, he means his. Okay, I
Yeah,
can't help
yeah,
you
yeah.
book shows, unfortunately. So scan his and then contact him via his email as well.
And if you
And
have areas that you guys would like to see shows in that if you want to do one of our shows and you don't see a show in your area, shoot that over to me because I can put an R&D team together and see if we can make some things happen in your area. We're in Gary, Indiana now, so that's close to Illinois. That's going to be a new show starting next year. I saw somebody asking about Illinois. So give us that feedback and I can certainly put that into our R&D plan.
yeah, that's awesome. To Matt, did you get my contact info? Matt, if you scan the QR code to book a time, then I'll get your contact, okay? And then we had somebody else ask about another area somewhere up in the chat. I
New
don't know.
York.
Was it New York?
I think I heard someone say more shows in New York. I don't have any there. Yeah, I just don't
Okay.
know.
I'm gonna go ahead to the chat. We have some other questions. Is there a best place to find people to work the shows? How do you find those ideal workers? That's such a good question. I have no relation to the source I'm about to tell you. I don't get anything when you use them, but I've been using Indeed for the last 13 years for both hiring the manager of this department and hiring part-time appointment setters to work events and shows. And Indeed has done tremendously well for us. This is what we always use. Your job ad, your job title are very important. How you compensate are very important. Please don't use the term brand ambassador or event representative. You're going to get a different type of person than what you're looking for. What you're looking for is actually more of a salesperson. Okay, so connect with us if you want help with your job ad and all of that stuff. But Indeed is definitely the place. By the way, Steve, just so you know, I'm in the Q&A part right now. So if you're wondering where I'm finding these,
Yeah,
you said, I have another question. Is
I'm trying
having
to answer other questions that are coming in too through email because they're
Listen,
on it.
Steve and I are very popular people. I'm just kidding. So we have, is having lead capture software ideal, or can I run leads using pen and paper? This is a very interesting question. I'm going to give you guys an answer that you will be shocked to hear from me in 2026. I love pen to paper. I absolutely love pen to paper. We like using a carbon copy as an appointment reminder form where you're pen to papering your appointment, all the information you're taking down from the customer. This is actually a part of our methodology. You can do this process using a form or a lead capture software and all that stuff. But I like handing somebody a physical paper at the end. It's so different than what other people are doing in 2026, heavily leaning on tech. The only difficulty with it is balancing out what's in the availability for capacity with your sales reps versus what you're booking in real time. So I like to have somebody actually on site entering in appointments to make sure that we're up to date with what we have in terms of availability. But you can do it either way. Okay, we have a question from Anthony. Samantha, at what point would you start to build out a team and staff employees for shows only? Right away. It's the first thing I'm doing. If you hired me to work in a company right now, the first thing I'm going to do is place a job ad for the role. I'm going to build out the training manual. I'm going to focus so heavily on that team as I simultaneously spend my time booking shows, getting the right booth. Steve had touched on this earlier, is getting in early. All of my members have their 2027 home shows booked. They know which booth they're at because placement is incredibly important. By the way, you guys, connect with Steve because he and his team will know the show floor really well. So they're going to know which way traffic flows. Not everybody's doing this. Steve, don't hate me, but ask them, hey, you're on the show floor. Where do people typically gravitate when they first walk in? Connect with them because they know it's not always about what you're seeing in the aerial view of the floor plan. Foot traffic flows differently. By the way, you guys don't want to be next to a band or a really loud performer. All due respect to them, but they're going to impede on your ability to have good conversations. Okay, so these are the things I want you to talk to with Steve and his team when you're actually going to book shows as well. I am new 8 months as a marketing event manager. Congrats for a large home improvement company. Okay. I'm struggling with staffing internally and looking to hire. I want to prepare more for the owner who I meet with weekly on how to maximize our shows. More. This is something, Samantha, we can chat more. Yeah, absolutely. Molly, if you want to, please book a time with me because I can help you avoid making a ton of mistakes and wasting a lot of time. Not that you are, but just leveraging me and the millions of mistakes I've made. I would rather you not have to do that, plus help you generate some revenue really quickly and predictably, and know how to do things and know what you're going to get out of any show before you even do it. I think that's an important piece to this as well. We have Tyler asking, I am a two-man show for a duct cleaning, duct optimization company. I had a 25% giveaway for signups and I did 20 calls out of the 60. I did a home show in St. George. This is also my first year open. I did 25K in revenue. Great job. I think that there's definitely some ways to refine your process, but that's a great turnout. Like great revenue. So, and then he asked, sorry, what else can I do to improve these numbers? There's a lot. I think, having a methodology to qualify customers to that opening line is important. There's a lot to it. I would recommend booking a call. We can, dissect your department a little bit more together. Molly, I did 12 shows only in a month, and we have done 1 million in home shows, but doing non-home shows as well and want to grow in 2027. Look, guys, the non-traditional events are think about it. I did 300 events a year when I was an event manager. There was probably 20 or 30 home shows in my territory. So imagine there's a lot of room for doing outside of the box thinking. Okay. So you can connect with me on those as well. Steve, I have your R&D team. So sorry, Steve, please have your R&D team look at Atlanta. The current show is in an undesirable part of town. Please look into Alpharetta, Sandy Springs, Dunwoody, or Marietta. I hope I'm
We
pronouncing.
are currently in talks with Marietta, and it's likely going to be late 2027. Believe me, I'm trying, guys. It's surprisingly enough, though, I will tell you that the show we did in Atlanta at that venue that you're speaking of, it did surprisingly well, and we rebooked, and we had actually a lot of rebookings for that show. So you might want to look at the inside of the book instead of just the cover on that one because it actually turned out to be pretty good.
Good
So,
stuff.
yeah.
We have Jessica saying, can I schedule the appointment right away and have a seller go to them when they leave the show or wait till after? Do you mean like customer has to be home for you to meet with them? We do same days though. If the customer is available the same day and you have capacity on your schedule to have a sales rep go out, same day, all day. The sooner the better to get into the home as long as the customer is actually qualified. Okay. We have some more questions. For the folks who raise their hand, if you don't mind just putting your question in the chat so that we can get to all the questions in one place, that will help a lot because we have a lot more questions to go through. And guys, keep asking. This is whatever you need from this, just ask away. We're happy to help. Why not use the term brand ambassador? Look, a brand ambassador can, be perceived as somebody who's there to sort of demo a product. That is not what our team is doing. Our team is very tactical. They have a set system and there is an end objective that they're shooting for. A brand ambassador isn't that. A brand ambassador is like it rhymes with pluck. No. If you can make sense of who I'm talking about, they demo products. Okay. They're not there to necessarily walk through a process with the homeowner and qualify them and set the appointment. I can't even just say to you, qualify and set an appointment. There's a script to this. There's a methodology to this. And a lot of the time, brand ambassador is going to get people who just want to kind of show up and do whatever. And that's not what we're doing this for. Okay. It's really tough to justify doing events and home shows at a massive scale if you're not doing it the right and specific way. I hear that Facebook event staff groups are a good source to hire for events. Is this true? It can be. It can be. Remember that you're hiring somebody who's specifically looking to work part-time. So we need to make sure that we're being very deliberate in that part of the role. Somebody's asking, would you advise setting up partnerships with Ace Hardware locations, etc., and setting up events at their locations? We have gained approval from 3 locations. Absolutely. I've done retail a ton. A lot of my clients, I have them in Ace Hardware's, Costco, in Lowe's, Home Depot. We love retail. I actually prefer Ace Hardware a lot of the time to the bigger ones because you can decide how the comp works for the store. So you don't need to pay them a rev share. Please do not pay a rev share if you're doing retail. I'm sure these guys hate me for saying this to you, but it will eat up a lot of your budget is paying the actual store. Okay. So, I recommend don't do a rev share, just pay them a flat rate, but try the location before you commit. Don't sign a lease with any retail store or anything like that, please. Go ahead and try. And it's only valuable for the retail store to be there. For you to be there. They don't lose any product. You take up a really small space. There's a way to do retail the right way. Please contact me and I can help you set up your retail program the right way as well. What is the benefits of doing special event like an art show or community event? What sets them apart from home shows? Look, a lot of the time there's no not competitors, but there's no other companies that offer your service that are at the non-traditional events. That's the biggest thing. And you're catching people off guard. You're catching people who have maybe thought about doing their windows or redoing their bathroom, and they were anticipating calling somebody, and then they run into you at a food festival, and it's like fate that they're there. They've met with somebody who's extremely personable, I'm sorry, and it's like stops them off track, but it's like, hey, we were just thinking about this yesterday. I get this all the time when my clients are doing shows. They get this all the time. I was just thinking about this, and you're here. This is perfect. It's a completely different thing. But I recommend doing every single home show within your territory, and also simultaneously doing non-traditional events like fairs and festivals. Um, so if not event rep or brand ambassador, what job title should we use for hiring? You should be in our face-to-face marketing network. We give you your job titles. There's 2. We also give you your job description, your comp plan, your script, your training manual, how to schedule, how to budget, everything that you need to run this department the right way. You get inside the face-to-face marketing network. So please check us out. I'll put the link here for you. It's an incredible program. It's literally what I wish I had when I was an event manager. Okay. Steve, Vegas, baby. That's a
Vegas,
comment.
baby. I mean, the closest right now we got is St. George, but I'm always down to go to Vegas. I won't be working the show. I'll be, slinging dice. But hey, it's okay. No, Vegas is tough. It's a good one. It'd be a big one. So yeah, maybe
Yeah.
in the future.
Nice. All right. I think we do have some more questions. We have tips for setting appointments where the customer needs warm transfer to call center agent. People don't like to wait for the call in, but that's a great question. When I was running my department, that's how we structured it. I'm not sure which company you're with that you know how to do that. I have a feeling I know which company you're with, but what Bud's asking about is having the call center on standby, and then you actually call the call center, the inside sales center, to transfer the phone to schedule the appointment and have the call center actually go through that script. You can do that. A lot of people will say that that will increase your set rate or your issue rate. I've tested both where I've gone that route for years, and then I've trained my team heavily on setting the appointment and confirming and going through that confirmation script themselves when they're face to face with the customer. And at first I trained them just to use the second process as a backup in case the customer is about to walk. And then we rolled it out, and our set rate was not affected. As long as you're on top of your team, you don't need to do a phone handoff. I just want to be really clear with that. Okay, so Bud, contact us. We're happy to help you with all your processes as well. Do we have any other questions? We have some hands that were raised, and I'm actually not sure how to unraise them. I think they would have to get brought up. So the folks who have your hands raised, I know I promised that I was gonna respond to your questions. I don't want to not. Do you mind just putting your questions in the chat, please, so we can answer them? I think we would have to actually bring you up, unless you know what, Farhan, the people who have their hands raised, if they're still raised, can you make them? I think you have to make them a speaker, and then they can unmute themselves. if they still have their hands raised. We'll wait a couple more seconds. And I don't see them up in the chat. So I'm assuming that their hands are not raised anymore. Anyway, you guys, this has been incredible. Thank you all for joining. We had over 100 people today on this webinar. Actually, Kira's hands raised. Farhana, I'm not sure if you know how to get Kira up to the, I just don't want to miss her question. Oh, her hand's not raised anymore. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining. Again, scan the QR code to talk to Steve. Use the code enable10 at nationwideexpos.com to save 10% on all of your booths with Nationwide Expos. You can contact us for any further questions that you have. Scan the QR code to connect with myself. My team and I are, super honored to help you build out your program the right way. And this webinar will also be uploaded onto our YouTube page by tomorrow. So we'll get everybody the link to the recording. So thank you so much. It's been incredible to connect with you all. Steve, thank you for joining today too.
Thank you for letting me be a part of this. It was great to talk to all of you. And I think there's about 7 appointments booked through my link right now over the next few days. So I'm welcome all of it. Email me if you have questions, link me up if you want to go ahead and set up a time. But it's just as easy as going to nationwideexpos.com, finding the show you want, booking it, and using that enabled 10 promo code, save you 10%. And so, yeah. All right.
Awesome. Everybody have a great day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.